Karak Tea, a stranger paying for breakfast, and couchsurfing in Kuwait. This week, we're talking to Mandy and Lee, the Frugal Travellers.
Traveling the world to bring you delicious dishes, tasty beverages, and interesting experiences. This is the Destination Eat Drink Podcast on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
I'm Brent Peterson. Welcome to Destination Eat Drink, the travel podcast for foodies. This is the place for foodies to explore the world at destinationeatdrink.com and here on the Destination Eat Drink podcast. This week, it's Mandy and Lee, the Frugal Travellers in the Middle East, Thailand, and New Zealand. But first, if you like the podcast, I think you'll like the Destination Eat Drink website and our videos, so sign up for our newsletter and you can keep on top of everything we're doing, not only on the podcast, but also at destinationeatdrink.com and on YouTube. Sign up for the newsletter at destinationeatdrink.com. My guests this week are Mandy and Lee, YouTube's Frugal Travellers. They've been around the world traveling for the last 25 years, and a few years ago, they decided to document their travels on YouTube. That's where I found them shortly after they started riding out the pandemic in Portugal. Their videos show what life is really like on the road as they stick to a tight budget of $25 a day per person. If that sounds impossible, well, it's not, and Mandy and Lee prove it. Since leaving Portugal a few months ago, Mandy and Lee have been to the Middle East, Thailand, and are now visiting family and friends in New Zealand before heading out again. We talk about making friends while couch surfing, as well as some amazing dishes like Loomi, Yemeni Bread Pudding, fattoush salad, and Khao Soi Soup. Plus, Mandy talks about eating like a teenager in New Zealand and a great way to eat Vegemite. Okay, I'm starving, so let's eat.
Destination Eat Drink.
Lee and Mandy, the Frugal Travellers, so great to have you back on Destination Eat Drink. It's been far too long. Thanks for being back on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting us, Brent. We had so much fun last time, so we were really happy when you invited us back. It's brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to come back and speak to you again.
You know, I first learned about you guys when you were in Portugal, and I guess you spent more time in Portugal than you have anywhere else in quite a while, and that was due to external obvious circumstances. We were going through a global pandemic, so you were kind of in Portugal, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, however long it was. But my first question to you is, you're now back out on the road and traveling like you have done for so many years of your lives. How does it feel after being in Portugal for so long to be able to go back out on the road and travel so much again?
It was kind of a shock to the system because we'd spent 2 years in Portugal and fell in love with that country. Like, it's my favorite country in the world. It was absolutely brilliant. But we were excited to be back on the road again and exploring like an area that was very new to us, like the Middle East. But it was a little bit, I don't know, it took a little bit to get into it at first.
Yeah. I think we chose quite a challenging travel destination to sort of dip our toes back into, didn't we? But Portugal was just so wonderful. It was really hard to drag ourselves away from there, but excited to be traveling again. So mixed emotions, really.
Yeah, as someone who's lived in Portugal for over a year now, I can see how it would. Me and Karen, we talk about this all the time. We're like, I don't know how we're going to go anywhere else because we've built such a beautiful life here in a beautiful community in our town of Setúbal. We're like, yes. I don't know how you're going to beat it. So, but hats off to you guys for getting back on the horse and getting out there and traveling again. You spent some time in the Middle East, and I wanted to start talking about the Middle East with you because it's a place that I'm really not that familiar with. I don't know a lot of people who've spent time in the Middle East. I haven't personally been to the Middle East. And then when I saw you guys were going there, I thought, wow, I got to talk to Mandy and Lee and find out what their experience was like going to the Middle East. So my first question to you is, you guys are the Frugal Travellers. You are known for traveling on a budget of $25 a day per person, including lodging. And when I think of the Middle East, again, my experience is completely based on what I read and what I see on television, but it's notoriously expensive. Were you guys able to keep to your frugal travel budget while you were in the Middle East?
We have one word that will, sum up our experience or explain how we managed to travel in the middle of the budget, and that's couchsurfing. We tried it before in Bulgaria and Romania and Iran back in 2018. But when we looked at Middle East prices, like for accommodation, I think we paid for one hotel, our very first night in Saudi Arabia, and that was $40 a night. So we'd already decided we were going to look into couchsurfing and embrace that experience. And that's what it sort of saved the day. It saved our budget. And also,
yeah, it turned out that it's the best thing to do there as well. Purely not to save money on accommodation, but to meet local people and to be introduced to the local culture by your host that you stay with. They show you around, they explain things to you, they introduce you to things that you could never find yourself. So that was an amazing experience. Yes. And yes, the Middle East is quite expensive for transport and accommodation. Food's not too bad. So it worked out fine, and we did come in under budget.
So couchsurfing is where someone just allows you to stay in their home for free, and you kind of have this instant friendship, sort of, I guess. I've never done it myself. That's kind of how it works. But my question would be then, do you guys, there must be websites that you recommend for doing couchsurfing. It's not like the old days where you would just kind of wander into town and ask around, hey, anyone got a spare bedroom or a couch that I can crash, or a floor I can crash on? What websites do you guys recommend?
Well, there's actually an app. It's a website now called couchsurfing.com.
Yeah.
And is it .com or .org? It's an app. Yeah, we found it on the Google Play Store. But it used to be free, but I think they started charging for it a while ago to prevent ads. They didn't want to have ads on it, so they charged like a yearly fee. I think it was €21 we paid. And so you sign up for it. The really important thing to stress about couchsurfing, it's not just about free accommodation. It is, like as Lee said, it's a cultural thing. So when you do go and stay, they recommend a maximum of 3 nights, but you have to be prepared, or it's all about wanting to spend time with the host. So we've spoken to a couple of hosts who have said people nowadays, they seem to just assume it's just free accommodation and someone will rock up, drop their bags and then go racing off to go exploring, where it's not about that. It's about
cultural exchange.
Going and meeting the host and then going out with the host when they have time, in between their work and family arrangements, etc. And then spending time with them. But so we've got the app on our phone, and when we look for somewhere to couch surf, because it requires a bit of preparation, not too much preparation. We when we were booking our tickets in October, we wrote to a few people in October to stay with them in January. That's way too far in advance. You know what I mean? It's not like booking.com. You've got to go early to book the best cheapest places. And especially in the Middle East, they're so relaxed, the hosts. Some of them like it like a message a day before is when they like their request. But so you go onto the app and you read the reviews, or you go and you look for a host, and then you make sure, you read the reviews. It's incredibly important. And then you send a request, or you put out your general trip plan, and then people will write to you from that as well. And it's just, honestly and truthfully, it sort of changed our way of travel, in the Middle East.
Totally. We house sat for 3 weeks in the beginning in Abu Dhabi, and that was kind of we went to the region in the first place to do this house sitting for 3 weeks, and that was great. Didn't really learn much about the Emirates, Abu Dhabi, while we were there, because we were isolated in a house on our own. We went and did a bit of sightseeing and stuff. We didn't meet any locals that way. When we went to Kuwait, he was such a wonderful person, the guy that picked us up and took us to his home. And within the first 24 hours in there, we'd learned more about Kuwait than we'd learnt about Emirates in the 3 weeks we were there, So that's an example of how wonderful it is, what a great experience it is. And Arab hospitality is second to none as well. The people there are just so welcoming and friendly and hospitable. It's quite humbling.
It's incredible.
Really.
And Khalid, our host in Kuwait, he's become such a good friend now. He sent us a WhatsApp message this morning. I've got to write to him after this and I have a chat with him, because he's such a wonderful guy, and he's absolutely brilliant. And so we're going to be making like a lot of our videos that are going to be coming up soon on our channel are going to be featuring like our hosts. And so that way, hopefully people can see, like we have this preconceived idea about the Middle East, because all we hear on the news tends to be like war and strife and all these terrible things going on.
Right.
And when we were there, it was just, oh my word, it was incredible. Our biggest danger was like eating too much, because people just kept feeding us. It was just like we gained weight. It was just like, please, no, don't order another dish. It was just, they were so wonderful. As Lee said, so incredibly kind, such good people. It's amazing.
I love this idea of a cultural exchange on couch surfing, and I don't know if I'm ready to make the jump or not, but I love hearing about it from you guys. So I'm going to live vicariously through you on this couch surfing idea. Is there an expectation of reciprocity? In other words, you went in and you stayed at these people's homes and they entertained you. They gave you hospitality, which you said was wonderful. You made friends. Is it now expected that you will do the same and open up a place where you are? You guys have no fixed address, so it might be a little more difficult for you. But is there some sort of reciprocal component to this?
I think it's such a good question, but I think it's long term. Like when you sign up to couchsurfing, like a really important thing is to get good references. In the future, like as you said, we have no fixed abode at the moment, but in the future when we are staying somewhere, like we actually stayed in Bulgaria, we stayed with someone in Sofia, Juki. She was actually like a traveler, a digital nomad. She was staying in a place for a month, and she had asked the person that she was sharing like the apartment with, if she could host couch surfers. And so she could, even though she herself was like a digital nomad. So maybe we can do that in the future, and then that way we can build up references as hosts. But it's not an immediate reciprocity thing. It's more when you're there, like a lot of people, like they cook for their hosts, or they'll bring them presents, or like small presents, or something like that. Or if you go shopping, like grocery shopping, like contribute towards the grocery bill, that sort of thing. Like people can do that. But with our hosts in the Middle East, it was blinking like nigh on impossible to do anything for them, because they just we wanted to buy Khaled like our last meal in Kuwait, and he still insisted on paying for it, so it was just
We had one moment in Kuwait actually when he took us out for a first breakfast, and we would have liked to have paid, but he insisted. And then a complete stranger.
This guy came up and started chatting to Khaled. And walked through, because Khaled was like, is an imam, and we just assumed it was someone from his mosque, chatting away. And then the guy walked to the side, and Khaled said, "Oh, this kind gentleman I've never met before has just paid for our breakfast because he wanted to welcome you to Kuwait." I know, and it was just. I know, it was so lovely.
Of many incidences that
just like how wonderful is that? We were blown away. It was just quite a really tough experience.
Yeah, it hasn't really happened to us in many places before. In Iraqi Kurdistan it did. Yeah, yes. In that region, it's quite common.
Yes, Arab hospitality, but it was just so wonderful.
Yeah, because there is Kuwaiti breakfast, kind of the traditional ones that you'll get a lot of plates, won't you? With like dips and breads and
hummus, your tahini, or tahina they call it, and a lot of like falafel. They do eat a lot of pulses, a lot of beans and things like that. So in some ways it could be okay for the vegetarians, but they don't have vegetarianism in their culture. That's the weird thing. They can't understand. You know what I mean? That hasn't quite.
People don't do it by choice. They do it because they
enjoy
developed that food. Yeah.
So it sounds like the breakfast is kind of what we would expect, with dips and breads and hummus, and kind of a savory breakfast, not maybe as sweet a breakfast as we might see in some European countries. That's interesting. What about
also with jam and cream and honey?
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's your sugar fix.
And yes, and the tea, the Karak Tea as well.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the Karak Tea, because I've seen you drink that in the Middle East. Describe what the Karak Tea is. What's in it?
It came from India, so I'm assuming it is chai. So it's
similar to masala tea, but without the spicy masala.
It has cardamom.
Yes,
it's tea and cardamom and sugar. I think you boil the cardamom pods with the milk and the tea,
Yeah.
So some listeners who listen might be thinking, no, it's completely wrong, but that's sort of how it was explained to us. And it's delicious. It's just,
very sweet and tasty is the way to start the day.
Yes, but it is, so it's like chai, Indian chai.
It does sound like chai, yeah. And I guess there's a fairly large Indian population in the UAE and probably all throughout the Middle East, because a lot of Indian workers have come in order to do jobs in the Middle East.
Yeah.
I know there's a big Filipino population as well.
Yep.
So did you see a lot of Filipino and Indian food when you were in the Middle East?
In the UAE, definitely. Because Lee was looking at the figures. What was the figures for?
It was 89% of UAE is expat workers, and that's from all over the world, but mainly from the Indian subcontinent, Bangladesh, Nepal, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. So you've got a massive influence of those,
yes.
And that is, on a budget sense, that was the cheapest way to eat in the UAE, because there's a lot of cafes set up,
just stores, not stores. What do you describe, like
a hole in the wall kind of thing, mom and pop place. Yeah.
They call it sambusas. Yeah,
that's right. And that's the way to get a cheap food fix in the
cheap, delicious,
UAE.
Tasty.
Yeah,
a lot of it's vegetarian, isn't it? Because you choose what you want for your pakora, or we had some delicious food like that, and so many Filipinas as well. And so you get all of your like Filipino fast food, like Jollibee and Chick King and all of those sorts of things that you see in the Philippines.
Yeah, so it's great. There's something for everybody, like if you can go there, and if you don't like Middle Eastern food, which I'm not quite sure why you wouldn't, but you've got so many other options due to this big international flavour there. It's great.
But something that I did really notice about the UAE, like Dubai and so we only actually went to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, was that there seemed to be like such a huge gap between the foods. Like it seemed to be very expensive or very budget. Like it was there wasn't a lot in between. Whereas we noticed in Saudi Arabia, for example, there was a lot more mid-range priced food.
Yeah.
But the UAE, really, maybe because it is so incredibly wealthy, like it's so oil rich, whereas Saudi's not too sure if it has quite as much. I'm not too sure. But Saudi seemed to be a bit more reasonable when it came to food and more options.
In comparison to Europe, for example, so I thought Saudi Arabia was quite reasonable for food, wasn't it? You could sit down and have a meal if someone would allow you to pay, for less than what you would in Portugal, for example.
Yes, actually, you're right. But in UAE, it was so many expensive places.
Yeah.
Like it was like way dearer than Portugal.
Yeah, and I think you were going to ask us about alcohol, Brent, but the UAE, like, it is available there, and that's you have to go to like licensed venues, which tend to be in hotels and specific bars and things, where the alcohol is quite expensive and the food tends to be more expensive as well, for that you're kind of paying for the right to have a drink.
I think apparently there are places where the person that we were house sitting for, he said that you can buy alcohol like from a wholesale place.
Yeah.
You used to need a license, and the amount that you could buy was determined by your salary. Like, you know what I mean?
So it's on a sliding scale.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, a bus driver might only be able to buy a couple of bottles of beer a month, but someone who worked in, high up an HR would be unlimited because it would be for entertainment purposes kind of thing. I think that may have been dropped, but we didn't buy any, like he left us a bottle for, you know what I mean, for New Year's. Well, he said like help yourself, but something that's happened to me.
Host,
since we left Portugal, I've basically gone on the wagon. I'm totally teetotal for 2023. That's my new thing, because I think I just love the wine in Portugal so much that I can't bring myself to drink alcohol anywhere else, which sounds daft, but it's weird.
Yeah, and
I've just gone off. I've gone off alcohol completely.
In Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, it wasn't available at all.
No,
so
it's illegal.
If you're a drinker, you don't go there. We found that the coffee drinking culture and the tea drinking culture was really quite pleasant. You'd be sitting in a really busy outdoor place in the evening with all the locals drinking, having a tea, and it was really sociable and quite quite civilized, I thought, and you don't wake up the next morning feeling a bit grotty, on a hot day. So
Yes.
Right.
far better for us for, when we're in travel mode.
You said if you're a drinker, don't go there. No, do go there.
Yeah.
But just remember, you won't be able to buy any alcohol.
Yeah.
So, like, I think my favorite discovery in the Middle East was Loomi. And a Loomi is this incredible drink made from dried limes. So they're these funny little like balls, like hard balls to be found in all the markets. And they're limes that have had the peel taken off them and then they're dried in the sun. And so they make this drink. I don't even know if they cut them up, but they like throw them into boiling water and then they boil them for ages. And it has this most incredibly intense citrus flavor. It's just, oh my word. And they serve Loomi in these small glasses, the tea glasses, and you can ask for it without, because otherwise, oh my word, they do like putting the sugar in. And it's just, I don't know, I thought it was wonderful. It just, we were both getting colds. I think Lee had a cold actually in Riyadh, because Riyadh was surprisingly cold in comparison with other places in Saudi. But like a couple of glasses of Loomi and boom, you're good to go. It's just so delicious. So yeah, the Loomi is one of my favorite things from the Middle East.
Is it really citrusy or is it
incredibly?
Okay. That sounds really cool. I think I'd really like that.
Well, I had a look online here. They do sell them in New Zealand, but one Loomi, one of these dried limes costs $4.50. So I'm not going to try it. But in the Middle East, they're everywhere. Having said that, they didn't really drink it. They didn't drink it in Bahrain.
We first came across it in Kuwait, didn't we?
Yes.
And then it was big in Saudi Arabia too.
Yes, but yeah, not so much Bahrain, and actually not that much in Saudi, but Kuwait definitely. Oh, it's just so wonderful. So I definitely recommend look out for Loomi.
Before we leave the Middle East, I just wanted to give you a chance. Were there any other dishes or drinks that you had while you were there, whether it was Saudi or Kuwait or Bahrain, wherever, that especially stood out in your mind as especially delicious or fun or interesting?
Yeah,
so many.
Yeah, but we didn't know much about Yemeni food before we started, and we didn't go to Yemen because the security situation isn't great there. But it's quite popular throughout the region, isn't it? And we tried a few dishes that we were taken to Yemeni places by a lot of Saudis that ate at them. And there was one dish called masoob, which we really liked, which is kind of a sweet breakfast dish.
Oh, yeah.
But it's eaten throughout the day. People all get it anywhere. And it's made with bananas, like very ripe bananas, ground flatbread, and then cream, cheese, dates, and honey. And it's all mixed together like a yogurt with lots of delicious things inside, isn't it?
Very rich porridge kind of thing, but like an indulgent and a luxurious.
Yeah.
Luxurious.
And it has
porridge.
bread in there, so it's quite sort of substantial as well, isn't
and
it?
Heavy
like,
and
you order a dish between the two of you and you're really full at the end of it, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, that's something that we hadn't really come across anywhere else.
No, which was wonderful. But like I didn't like dates until we went to the Middle East, and in the beginning, like we'd be offered them and we walked around the market, and I'd be like, oh gosh, I have to take it because and then I'd have like one or two bites and like quickly swallow and not like it. But then we went to Al Asa, which is in Saudi Arabia, and it's the world's largest oasis and date plantation.
Yeah.
And they have just the most incredible dates. And what they do is they get these dates. There's so many varieties. There's one like a black one called Ajwa date, which was the favored one of the Prophet, and that only grows in Medina, and this like beautiful, delicious black date. But what they do is they get the dates and they dip them in tahina, and then you eat them that way, and it's just such a wonderful combination of the sweetness of the date and the savouriness of the tahini, or they stuff the dates with almonds, or they put fennel seeds on the outside, or there's just
or they kind of crush them a little bit to make a date paste,
yes.
don't they, as well? So you've got this lovely sticky, delicious.
So I didn't like dates, and I'm a convert now, but I haven't tried them yet out of the Middle East. So I might be again like, oh my word, this is like cardboard, they're horrible. But so it's so cool for that. But yeah, as we were saying, like so many different Yemeni things. Like there's something called shavut, which is yogurt with like bread inside and like salad on top, which was quite delicious. There's a dish called Mandy, which we didn't actually try. We really should have, but that's meat and rice. I know, Mandy, like how cool.
A lot of people laugh when they heard your name, didn't they?
So meat and rice, it's cooked with a special blend of spices, and it's cooked underground, kind of similar to like a New Zealand hangi maybe. But they eat a lot of Lebanese food. Like that seems to be like like a lot of tabbouleh and like hummus and other things as well. And also they love,
plates,
yes, fattoush, which I think is a Jordanian salad with like fried pita bread on top. And there's just so many dishes. Like,
as you can see, it was a food extravaganza.
No
kidding.
It's
so interesting. Yeah, because that region, it is quite varied from the Levant countries, like through the Arab Peninsula, and then all the other influences as well. Recommend it for a foodie.
Definitely, like murtabak. I said, "Oh, isn't that Indonesian?" They were like, "No, the Indonesians took murtabak like to Indonesia. It's from Middle East."
Went the other way.
The traders would have taken it there.
Yes, and so murtabak is very popular as well for breakfast, like with like eggs or whatever you choose to put in it. But and also they eat a lot of ful, which are beans. Like even when you go to the supermarket, there's this whole like area with like, I think California Garden was the brand name, with like 20 different types of ways of cooking, like beans with cumin and lemon, beans with tahina, beans with, you know what I mean? So there's loads and loads of options for.
You just buy the tin and put it out on a plate and dip your Lebanese bread in, or your
or your
local
different type
round
of bread.
breads. Yeah, they come from the tandoors, don't they? Tandoor, they call it.
Yes.
Khubus is the Arabic word for bread, and we just fell in love with it. It was just available everywhere, nice and warm, cheap, and it's a great way to have a good feed there.
Definitely. Because that's the one thing I love about Kuwait. Kuwait, it's subsidized bread, so everyone can afford to eat. It was so, I think it was like, you said in one of the videos, I think it was like 7 cents for a tandoor bread. You know what I mean? Just so everyone can afford it. Kuwait was amazing in that respect.
I think you're converting me, Lee and Mandy, to wanting to go to the Middle East now, because it just seems like there's such a wide variety of interesting food, and the culture is so rich there that you can have all this stuff. And I love the idea of all of these other cultures, these workers who are coming in and bringing their food culture with them as well. So pretty vibrant, it sounds like. And
incredibly so.
Check out the videos that we'll have coming out soon, because we made lots of videos of eating, didn't you, Mandy?
So, I got carried away.
You'll get an even better taste of what it's like there by seeing it visually.
Well, you guys know that I love your videos, and I especially love watching what you guys are eating. That always interests me a great deal. Let's move on to Thailand, because I know you guys made a trip to Thailand as well. And if maybe I don't know as much as I should about Middle Eastern cuisine, boy, I sure love Thai cuisine.
Brilliant.
Tell me about what your guys' experience was in Thailand.
Well, I used to spend a lot of time in Thailand back in like the 90s, because Kiwis used to get a 3-month visa. So I used to go there all the time, and I had Thai friends, and I spoke some Thai, and I used to go and help out at a local high school, like with the English classes. So I spent a lot of time in Thailand.
It's like going home.
It is, but we hadn't been since 2009. So it was amazing going back after 14 years and seeing what Bangkok is like now. And like Khao San Road was just, we took a quick walk through there. But it was so cool to see that there was still all the street stalls, like selling your, like kway teow nam, like your noodle soups, and like so many other things. And we basically spent 3.5 weeks eating. And
that was the sole purpose of going there. It wasn't sightseeing. It was purely just to go on a food fest.
Eat out 3 meals a day and still be under budget. Stay in a hotel with our own bathroom, and a very cheap guest house. Okay, but
we went up north to Chiang Mai because we enjoyed it up there, especially for the khao soi.
Yeah, that's why we went up for the khao soi. That delicious northern Thai soup with, I think, Burmese influences. Have you tried it, Brent?
No, I'm not familiar with it, but we have a Burmese restaurant in our little town here in Portugal that I have not been to yet.
Wow.
So I'm going to have to go there and find out if they have it. Tell me the name of the soup again.
Khao soi.
Khao soi.
Khao, and then soy is SOI.
Yeah.
And it's basically like, it's a coconut curry soup. And it has crispy rice, crispy egg noodles on top. And within the soup itself, is it egg noodles? It might be.
I think there's wheat noodles.
Oh, so wheat noodles, yeah. And it's just this most deliciously rich, flavoursome.
It's quite thick, isn't it? It's
it's incredible. And so we had a bit of a Khao Soi tour. We went to a couple of places that have been featured on I don't know if I can say this, Netflix, like Somebody Feed Phil and also Mark Wiens from YouTube.
Went to a few places
that they'd been to, that they'd recommended. They weren't our favourite places. Like, that's a spoiler alert. But we found this other place in a market that was just fantastic, and we ended up meeting up with one of our viewers, a guy who's been commenting on our videos for years, and we arranged to meet him at this our favourite Khao Soi place, and he loved it. So like we were like felt vindicated, you know. It's like, yes, it is as good as we think it is. So
good. But a local told you it was okay. Yeah.
Oh no, he's a no, sorry, he's actually English.
But I see.
He had been watching our videos here, and he'd never tried Khao Soi. I think he was like pad thai.
Yeah.
We don't really like pad thai. It's like, oh my days. Like, I don't know. We like things with more spice, but things like, have you tried Som-tam, the spicy papaya salad?
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
Because I love papaya to start with, you know. Papaya by itself I could eat all day, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was, I thought I'd overdosed on Som-tam, but no, I still had room to like keep having it like the next day and the next day. And what else did we loads? Oh, we just found so many wonderful places.
Yeah. Lots of lab, lots of,
like the spicy mincemeat salad.
Pad krapao, the minced meat with
royal basil and Thai basil. Yeah, and it was just so wonderful with the sticky rice, your khao niao.
And we were food stalls all the way, weren't we? Like, we ate in a few markets as well, but
not a single restaurant.
You know, the best food is to be found in these little carts on the streets, you know, with a little old lady who's been doing it for 30 years or so, and they just can produce a masterpiece, you know, with very little. It's
for like
just
50 baht, which is about US dollars.
Less than $2 US.
Per person. Yeah, it's just, it's amazing. And because it was quite hot, it was winter, but Bangkok was 36 degrees.
Oh, geez.
You know, on our second to last day. Yeah, so and it's quite humid as well. So we were drinking a lot of like iced coffee and iced tea, like cafe yen, cha yen, and just, which is iced coffee, iced tea. Yeah. And we'd always ask for it in a bag, but unfortunately, one of the things about Thailand, there is so much plastic used, and like we'd really tried to reuse straws, reuse plastic bags, but then they'd be like, "What are you doing that for?" And they'd like throw it away and give you a new one, which is, you know, is a bit tricky at times, but you just have to go with what the locals are doing. And it was amazing, delicious. The Thai people were so friendly and helpful, and took the overnight trains, and the food coming along the trains, you know what I mean? It was just, it was so wonderful.
Yeah. Endless procession of food available.
So good.
I want to say, and I know this probably isn't true, but I want to say that I've had just a tiny bit of influence on you, because it sounds like you guys are like now focused on the food for your trips. And this is something that warms my heart, because, you know, I am totally focused. When I go somewhere, it's like 100%. Where are we going to eat? What new dishes are we going to try? And where are we going to get them, you know?
I would say that you have had an influence on us, Brent, because we haven't really been like that in any other country. And I think as well, it was just like there were so many new experiences in the Middle East, and there was so many new cities, new like things to learn about places, like going to Medina, the second most holy city in Islam, and you know, having the experience there and like learning about the food from that region and just, you know, the history, etc. And then like going to like Al-Asa, the largest date farm in the world, and like going to other places as well, and like Bahrain, and seeing what it's like. It was just so nice to go to Thailand and it being somewhere familiar, somewhere where I could speak the language, or like well enough to like ask for a meal and ask how much, and like compliment them on it, and have a little chat to them about where we're from and that sort of stuff. Yeah. It was just amazing, and just, yes, as you said, working out where we were going to have each meal. That was so much fun.
And you know, as you get older, you can't eat as much as you used to, and we're like, we're limited to 3 square meals a day. We'd love to be able to fit 4 or 5 in if we could. So just a few snacks in between.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Fantastic.
It's really interesting for me to see some of the things that used to be really budget foods in Thailand, and now they've become trendy in the last 14 years. Like those sort of, like we never bought them because they just seemed really expensive. Now they look like pancakes with like egg inside, like crispy egg, and I think coconut. They used to be like dirt cheap, but now they were like this fancy name, and so I think they've been made famous internationally. Durian's really increased in price, and it was to be sold everywhere. In the old days, you'd have to go to like Chatuchak Market to buy it, but now it's, you know, every single market has 1 or 2 pieces of durian for like 200 baht.
Are you a fan of durian,
durian.
I've watched people eat this, and I'm familiar with what it is, but me personally, I haven't tried it. So I can't say. I can only speak of what other people have told me their experiences were with durian.
I love it, but I only love it when it's cut straight from the big spiky fruit, and it comes out and it's so fresh and soft and delicious. Yeah.
If it's sat in packaging for a while, it loses its.
Well, it'd turn more smelly. I'd say the smelly factor might be increased, and the deliciousness might be decreased. I think so. Yeah, so we just didn't buy any durian. Yeah. We bought loads of jackfruit because I'd read jackfruit's like a really new, incredibly popular thing in the vegetarian vegan market as an alternative to like meat for texture. And like I've always loved jackfruit. It's my favorite fruit. So that was just really interesting to read. Do you eat a lot of jackfruit?
I don't. And I think my issue with jackfruit has been maybe it's just not been prepared to my liking yet. But it seems like every time I have it, the texture has not been what I expected. And maybe that's just a me problem. Maybe that's not a jackfruit problem. But I will say this: I see a lot of it in hip vegetarian restaurants. You'll see it as like a pulled pork substitute or a barbecue substitute. I see it a lot in places like that. Yeah. My personal preference, if I'm going to be eating that type of thing, is to get. I prefer the texture of like a tofu or something like that. That's just me. Yes. And I'm sure someone is going to come out and tell me, here's the problem. You need to have it prepared this way, X, Y, Z. And then maybe I'll fall in love with it. I just haven't gotten to that point yet.
But I mean, even if you have it like uncooked, like fresh, but it has to be ripe enough. It's got to be a lovely yellow color, because we had some that was a bit too pale. I don't think it was quite ripe. But then when you have it when it's just a lovely golden color, and oh my word, I love the texture, the perfumey taste. Oh, it's just wonderful. Absolutely love jackfruit. And of course we ate loads of mango. We didn't have any mangosteen or rambutan this time. Not too sure. We were concentrating pineapples. Yes. We're going for like those lovely little, like a whole pineapple for, 30 baht. It's just so wonderful.
Chopped up all for you, so it's nice and easy. Yeah.
Oh man.
So cool. Love Thailand.
It's making me yearn for when we lived in Hawaii and all those wonderful tropical fruits that we used to get at the market there. Yes. But anyway, you guys are now in Auckland. Mandy, you're from New Zealand, so you're getting to visit family. Lee, I know you're a big fan of New Zealand as well. So you haven't been. When were you last in New Zealand anyway, you guys?
We flew out from Auckland on March the 26th, 2019.
Yeah, so it's been almost 4 years almost. Due to the pandemic, we haven't been able to get back. So it's been, we've been hanging out for this, and it's great for Mandy to see family again. Yeah, we flew back in on Monday, and it's just so lovely to be home. We're planning to go up north to see family up there, but unfortunately, because of the Cyclone Gabriel, that's devastated so much of the country. Like the roads that we want to take up north, they're sort of closed at the moment, or work's been done because of slips and issues. So that's sort of delaying the trip up north. But we're having a wonderful time in Auckland with Ma and Gaz. They came to visit us in Portugal, and so they're in a few of our videos, and it's just so cool to be with them again. And like talking about all things travel in Portugal and all that sort of stuff. And like of course eating like my favorite New Zealand foods, which it's a terrible thing. I revert to a blinking teenager when I come home. It's so bad. Yesterday for lunch we had meat pie sandwiches, which is like, so you get your meat pie, no cheese, unfortunately, because they were on special, but so meat pie between 2 bits of bread and butter and tomato sauce, it's
I used to eat that when I was 15.
I've heard of meat pies. I've never heard of a meat pie sandwich before. But
like
it does.
double carbs.
Pioneers.
It's so bad.
Yeah, you need to open a gourmet restaurant, maybe, Mandy.
It's so bad.
With lashings of New Zealand butter. That's the secret, I think. Like the dairy products here, second to none.
The new Michelin-starred restaurant of meat pie sandwiches.
I feel so embarrassed. No, I don't feel embarrassed. I'm proud to share it with the world.
No, man, fly your flag, Mandy. Be proud and fly your flag, you know?
Come on. So what else? What is your other guilty secrets about New Zealand?
Rations are sort of like a corn snack. Ration and peanut butter sandwiches. I'm hanging out to have one of those because I love them. And of course, Vegemite. You know, like I love Vegemite. Did you try Vegemite when you were in New Zealand, Brent?
I did, and I, in fact, the Airbnb we were in Devonport, which is right across the bay from Auckland, they had it in the kitchen. Beautiful. So that's I spread it on toast, and the thing that I learned was, you don't spread it thick like jam. You just a little bit goes a long way when you're doing that.
It's so delicious with avocado on toast.
Oh, okay.
Vegemite and avocado, because the savoriness of because Vegemites are like a yeast-based product. It's very high in B12, I think, B6, one of the B vitamins, a couple of them maybe. But so the savoriness, the umami flavor of the Vegemite, and then the creaminess of the avocado, they just go so well together. It's heavenly. Actually, I've got to buy some avocado.
That would be good. I think I would really like that too.
Yes, yeah. So wonderful.
What else are you looking forward to trying now that you're back, quote unquote, home?
We haven't got into ice cream yet, have we? That's another level of the New Zealand ice cream. It's just, incredible. Boysenberry is my favourite flavour from New Zealand, I think.
Yes.
Do you get that anywhere else? I'm not quite sure.
I think boysenberries are similar to mulberries, but they're different. They're not on a tree. They're on a bush or a vine. I don't know what you call it. But I haven't seen boysenberries in many countries. But for me, it's Whittaker's chocolate. It's so lovely. Did you try Whittaker's chocolate?
I love Whittaker's chocolate.
Fantastic.
Here's one of the things that I, you guys know that I always say first thing to do when you get to a new city is take the food tour. But another thing that I love to do, and I should talk about this more in the podcast, but one of the things that I really recommend folks do is not only go to the fresh produce market, but also go to the local grocery store, especially if you're in a country where you haven't been before. And this is also when we were in Devonport, there was a grocery store, and it's a chain in New Zealand, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head now. But we went in, and I saw all of this Whittaker's chocolate in the grocery store, and I thought, this will be fun. I'll pick up a couple of these bars. I was really, really impressed with the quality of Whittaker's chocolate. I really liked it. For a mass-produced, chocolate, I thought it was one of the finest ones that I've ever had, really. I mean,
so wonderful.
So far above, that mass-produced stuff that you get in the United States and maybe in England as well.
Yes, well, I think it's a family-owned business. It's been going since 1896. Family-owned. It's 4 generations now have worked with the company, and it's fair trade cacao, and it's it's just it's so amazing.
Content higher than some of the other brands?
Oh, exactly. Yes, the milk chocolate, the cocoa content is 33%. Whereas I think Cadbury's is 26%. So it's incredibly rich, and they've got so many different flavors at the moment.
Yes,
they've got Blondie, which is white chocolate, and biscuit, and for Christmas they had gingerbread milk chocolate. And
Mandy's going to be busy over the next few weeks working through all the new ones.
My mum, Ma, bless her heart, she's been stockpiling chocolate for me since we left in 2019 because we'd been trying to come back. We were going to come back a year and a half later or 2 years later, but of course we couldn't do that. So I've got all this chocolate. Some of it might be a little bit old, but I don't care. And so
they bring out limited edition flavors and things, don't they? So stuff that isn't available now. But
it's just so exciting. So I've got all these Whittakers to go through, and I'm just so happy, so happy, because I used to love Cadbury's when it was made in New Zealand, but then they closed the Dunedin factory and it went to Australia. And the milk is so different, because I could always tell the difference before anyway. I think kiwi milk is just, it's richer maybe.
Mm.
I'm really not, we have a lot more rain, you know what I mean? So the grass might be richer or
Volcanic
something.
soil.
Volcanic soil, yes, exactly. And so the same with Whittaker's. It's just marvelous. We saw Whittaker's in a supermarket in Abu Dhabi, in Carrefour, and I was like, oh my word! Like, I was so excited to see this big Whittaker's stand. Didn't buy any, of course, because I think it was like a little bit dearer, and I knew that my mother had saved loads for me, so I was waiting till I got home.
Wait till you get home,
Yeah, but oh, how wonderful.
We kind of glanced over ice cream, and I wanted to bring up ice cream because when we visited New Zealand in 2019, I remember an ice cream flavor that I had there. First of all, I love the ice cream in New Zealand. The like you said, Mandy, the dairy in New Zealand is so good and rich, and that translates into the ice cream. And there was a flavor of ice cream that I only saw in New Zealand, and I think it was called honeycomb. Is that correct? Is there a...
It's called hokey pokey.
Hokey pokey. And yeah, and it was described to me as having honeycomb in it. And as an American, I thought honeycomb, they meant the actual honeycombs from a beehive. You know, because that's what we call honeycomb. And I've eaten honeycomb before. I have friends who are beekeepers and, you know, munched on the little honeycomb. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. I'm going to get a honeycomb in the... That's not what honeycomb is when you're in New Zealand, right? So explain what hokey pokey is and what the honeycomb actually is.
You've actually caught me up there. I'm trying to figure out a way to describe it. It's like, what do you call it? It's made with...
toffee, like a toffee.
It's toffee,
but
very sweet.
I think it's got bicarb soda in it.
Yeah.
Or something to make it light and airy and fluffy. So when you make it, it's quite easy to make it at home. I think it's sugar and water and a couple of other things, bicarb, and it really puffs up and then it comes down and it
looks like honeycomb, doesn't it? And it has the same golden
texture, and it's very airy, like aerated.
Yeah, and that must be why they call it honeycomb, because it has those little air pockets in it, and it's kind of a golden color as well.
Yes. Yeah, so hokey pokey, I think, is like New Zealand's like national ice cream, or they're so proud of it. I'm not a fan. I hate to say that. Like, I'm not a typical Kiwi in so many ways. I don't like rugby. I don't like cricket. Like, sorry, my fellow Kiwis. And I don't like hokey pokey.
Yeah.
But and are you a fan, Lee, of hokey pokey?
No, Rocky Road, man, more me. You know,
it's Australian, I think.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, yeah. Flying the wrong flag there. Whoops.
But you do love your boysenberry.
Yeah.
And Lee likes things like goody goody gumdrops, that virulent, bright blue.
Yeah, if it's a bizarre colour, count me in, definitely. You just know. Yeah. Don't read the ingredients, though. Yeah.
Oh, but it's just so wonderful to watch. We went to Countdown the other day, that supermarket chain, and Lee said he loves the fact that there's a whole huge freezer section devoted to ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my mum's cat's just come in. She's Charlie, she's a Burmese, and she's very talkative, and she's telling us she wants attention.
It's dinner time for her. She wants some Whittakers.
Yeah.
Oh, so lovely. But what else New Zealand food wise?
Don't know. Hot dogs, maybe, you know.
A sausage on a stick with a batter over it. Battered sausage on a stick. I love them. Fish and chips, of course, down by the waterfront. That'll be amazing. Yeah. It'd be so cool to be having. Oh, we have feijoas. I actually saw a couple of feijoa trees in Portugal. Have you seen them, Brent? Have you ever heard of a feijoa before?
Feijoa? No. What is it?
It's a green fruit. Another name for it is like a pineapple guava. It's about 5 centimeters long, the fruit. It's on a bush. I think it originally comes from Brazil, hence the name feijoa, like Feijoa. And they're very, very popular in New Zealand for hedge plants. Like in the old days, you know what I mean? Like on farms, etc. They'd have a feijoa hedge around the backyard. And then they'd bottle the feijoas to like have them preserves, canning, preserves, etc. And they're really popular in New Zealand. I didn't really see them when we were traveling. I saw them in Azerbaijan, which was weird, and Georgia. And I saw a couple of feijoa trees in Portugal when I was house sitting up at Quinta. which was just amazing.
The Brazilian influence that someone's
Yeah,
decided
someone's
that
brought them
they would take
over.
them over there. Yeah.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to. They're on the tree at the moment. They're not quite right. They're sort of growing at the moment. So in a couple of months, we'll be able to eat some Fijios. Apart from that, I think that's it for me with Kiwi food. I know because we're not really into seafood or shellfish or anything like that. So,
but a good like Sunday roast. You have your kumara, don't you? Your sweet potato.
Yes.
I do like that mixed, with normal potatoes
and pumpkin
as well. Yeah. There's a few additions to like a traditional UK Sunday roast. Some of the vegetables really nice.
If people are thinking after hearing this of going to New Zealand, let me just throw my 2 cents in and just say, go, because it is life-changing experience for us. We absolutely loved our time in New Zealand, and we were talking. Karen and I were talking. We were saying, man, if we could figure out a way to make this happen, we would do it. We would go there. But, it's not as easy to immigrate to New Zealand as it is to some other countries, Portugal being one of them, some other. And it's also, it's a little expensive as far as living goes. But if you're going on vacation, boy, do it. Go to New Zealand and you'll have the time of your life, because a lot of people go to Australia, and Australia is great too. But, man, go to New Zealand. You'll have a great time. And we made so many great friends in New Zealand just from hanging out, sitting in restaurants, and people coming up and talking to us. Fantastic trip. Fantastic place.
That is so cool to hear. Yeah, it's really, really lovely.
If you like the great outdoors, then it's the place to come. It's all about outdoor living here. And it's very beautiful, the countryside. It's got a lot going for it, hasn't it?
Yes. And the people are lovely. It's a slightly quieter, slower way of life, I think. Even in Auckland, the capital city,
it's got that laid back vibe to it, doesn't it? Which is nice. It always makes you feel good when you're calm. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, Lee and Mandy, the Frugal Travellers, it's been a while since we've talked, but I feel like I've been able to keep up with you by watching you on your YouTube channel. It's always fun watching your guys' new videos. I'm always happy when it pops up on my feed and I'm like, oh, got a new video from Frugal Travellers, and that always makes me smile. Thank you so much for being on Destination Eat Drink today, and looking forward to seeing you guys down the road too.
Thank you so much, Brent. And the same with you. I love it when your posts pop up on Instagram and Facebook. It's always so wonderful to see what you're up to and who's next on your show. And we always look forward to the episode. So it's so cool.
Yeah, it's been great fun, and we always have a laugh. So so thanks for inviting us on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, there you go. Mandy and Lee are such a delightful couple, and I got to say, that definitely comes through on their videos. I've got a link to their YouTube channel in the show notes. Get that at radiomisfits.com/DED234. I'm really looking forward to where they're off to next. Well, that's it for this week. Next week, it's summer, so we're talking beer. And we'll enjoy a couple of cold ones from different places around the world. Don't miss that. Until then, get over to destinationeatdrink.com for your favorite foodie travel fix. I just published a story about a place that's a great little day trip from Lisbon. It's a riverfront town called Alcácer do Sal. Get that at destinationeatdrink.com/blog. I've also had lots of fun making these new videos for YouTube, and I just posted a new video about coffee culture here in Portugal. I try a few different kinds of Portuguese coffee drinks and an Italian espresso for good measure. You can see that on my website. Just go to destinationeatdrink.com and click on the videos tab, or go to YouTube, and my channel is at Destination Eat Drink 946. Destination Eat Drink is distributed by the Radio Misfits Podcast Network and a guy who orders his hokey pokey with a shot of scotch, Ed Silla. Thanks, Ed. I'm Brent Peterson, and I'll see you down the road.
Join us next week for another culinary adventure on Destination Eat Drink, a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.